Producing uniform wax occlusion rims for the test setup exercise will enable you to produce wax occlusion rims in 30 minutes or less that are consistently correct in form. In order to accomplish this task, you will be using a metal template. A template is defined as a guide to the form of a piece being made. The template used consists of a 2-inch square aluminum plate which is 1 1/2 millimeters in thickness. On the surface of the metal template has been scribed the arch form of a maxillary wax occlusion rim. To hold the metal template in the correct position, it is mounted on a column of dental stone which is attached to an articulator mounting ring. To identify each template, there is a number inscribed on the corner. You will be issued a template and will sign for it just as you would a library book. You are to keep the template and use it until you have graduated and taken the licensing examination given by the Texas State Board of Dental Examiners. At that time, you are to return the template. Once your maxillary cast is properly mounted, the template will consistently dictate the height of your occlusal plane, the angulation of that plane, and the specific arch form of both upper and lower arches. In order to mount the maxillary cast in the correct position, you will check out a mounting index from the first floor supply in room 122. The mounting index, which you see next to the template, is an acrylic resin base plate with a rim, which is also made of acrylic resin. Notice that it has a bead corresponding to the groove engraved in the metal template. Once the metal template has been placed on the lower member of your articulator, the mounting index is seated into it. A maxillary edentulous cast with the base heavily scored for retention is placed in the mounting index. The regular buff-colored dental laboratory stone is used to attach the cast to the upper member of the articulator. Additional stone is used to complete the mounting, and when the mounting index is removed, you can see the standardized relationship existing between your maxillary cast and the metal template surface. A mounting jig will be used to relate the lower edentulous cast to the already mounted upper cast. This mounting jig is to be obtained from room 122. Here is a posterior view of the mounting jig. The mandibular cast is placed in the mounting jig, and this assembly is placed on the upper cast. The upper cast is attached to the articulator, and the articulator is inverted for ease in attaching the lower cast with the dental stone. A smooth mix of dental stone is placed on the base of the lower cast, and the articulator is closed so that the incisal pin is on the table. After this stone sets, additional stone is used to fill and complete the mounting. Use wet or dry sandpaper to perfect the surface of your stone mountings. When your mounting procedure is complete, your case will look like this. Next, stabilized base plates will be constructed from autopolymerizing acrylic resin. Remove the mounted mandibular cast from the articulator and reattach the template assembly. When you close the articulator, your case will look like this. You are now ready to begin construction of the maxillary wax occlusion rim. Several sheets of pink baseplate wax will be required. Since the Texas State Board of Dental Examiners will issue you 6 sheets of medium baseplate wax, we recommend that you buy and practice your test setup each time using ADA-approved Type 2 medium pink baseplate wax so that you will be accustomed to its manipulation. As the first step in making your maxillary wax occlusion rim, lightly lubricate the metal template with Vaseline. Take 1 sheet of pink baseplate wax and soften it in the open flame. When the sheet of wax is uniformly softened, fold it in half and start rolling it up. Continue rolling up the wax like a cigar until it is tightly rolled. Then re-soften the roll of wax in the flame. Shape the roll of soft wax to follow the future contour of your wax rim along the line engraved in the metal template. Close the articulator until the incisal pin touches the incisal table. Using your fingers, shape the still soft wax so that it follows the general shape of a wax occlusion rim. Allow the wax to cool so that it will not be easily distorted. When you open the articulator, you will see a bead in the surface of the wax rim that corresponds to the engraved outline in the metal template. Using a number 25 blade in your barred Parker lab knife, cut off the surplus wax that is distal to the end of the bead line in the wax rim. Using the same knife, cut off the excess bulk of wax that is buckled to the bead line. Don't try to cut exactly to the bead line, but leave a small excess for finishing and shaping the wax. Now, when you close the articulator, you will see that the metal template has already given you the occlusal plane and the outline of the upper wax rim. Trim the developing wax rim to the outline engraved in the metal template. Open the articulator and notice that the wax rim is wider than the desired width of 8 millimeters. Use a millimeter ruler and scribe a mark indicating 8 millimeters in width. Continue measuring and scribing this line all the way around the lingual side of the wax rim. Then cut back the lingual surplus so that your rim looks like this. Add wax where necessary to fill out the buccal surface of your wax rim and scrape it to achieve a flowing contour of the wax as you see here. Smooth the surface of the wax with a silk cloth. Close the articulator to check the outline form. Smooth the lingual surface of the wax and recheck the buccal contours against the metal template. The maxillary rim is now complete. Next, we'll proceed to the lower wax rim. Remove the template assembly and replace the mounted mandibular cast with the base plate. Again, soften one sheet of pink base plate wax and start to roll it up. Notice that we do not first fold it in half as we did in the upper. Now, double the softened roll of wax back on itself like this. Press the wax together with your fingers and use a warmed knife to cut off about an inch from each end of the roll of wax. Lay the warm roll of wax on the lower base plate in approximate position. Here's how it looks in a lateral view. Close the articulator so that the pin is on the incisal table. Use your fingers to push the soft wax up into firm contact with the established upper wax rim. The roughly formed lower wax rim now looks like this. When you open the articulator, you will see the imprint of the upper wax rim on the surface of the lower. Now it's a simple matter to shape and polish the lower wax rim until it exactly coincides with the shape of the previously established upper wax rim. A lateral view of the completed wax rims look like this. Here is the opposite side. This is the frontal view of the wax rims with the incisal pin temporarily removed for better visibility. Notice that the lower wax rim exactly matches the upper wax rim at this stage. This is an important point to remember. The upper wax rim has been contoured to represent the precise position for maxillary anterior teeth when you start to arrange them. Once the bulk of maxillary anterior wax is removed for setting teeth, then the guide for arranging the maxillary anterior teeth will become the outer edge of the lower wax rim. Now you can appreciate the significance of making the lower wax rim exactly match the upper wax rim. If you do not do this, then you will lose your landmark for positioning the incisal edges of the maxillary anterior teeth. You are now ready for the next step, arranging the maxillary anterior teeth.